Lord, we come before you as a community, united in your name. You have called us to be one body with Christ on our head. Help us to live out this unity in our relationships. Forgive us for all the times we let division and discord creep into our midst. Give us hearts that are quick to forgive and eager to reconcile. Help us to remember that our differences are what make us unique and beautiful. To embrace them with love and understanding. Give us the wisdom to know how to communicate effectively, especially when we disagree. Teach us to love one another just as you have loved us. May our unity bring glory to your name and be a testimony of your love to the world. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order. Start with a roll call. Amendment.
Burrell.
Here.
Swift. Ms. Moore. Here. Mr. Allen.
Here.
Mr. Vasco.
Here.
Mr. Brewer. Mr. Stanley. Mr. Stevens. Boulevard.
Here.
Ms. Small. Ms. Branton. Here. Mr. Glorioso.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody. Thanks all the members, people that are in the audience. I know this is a very important topic for everyone. City officials, mayor, police chiefs, everybody, the citizens that are here. Thank you for being here. We first would like to adopt the motion accepting the minutes of the last meeting, which you all sent copies of. I'll second. So we have a motion in a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we're going to go into a section of the meeting where we can discuss the current status of our parish ordinances. And I said this at last meeting, and I know that's why we have a pretty good number of people here. We hope to make a recommendation today of whether we're going to recommend to the police jury, who has the authority to make the final decision. We're just an advisory committee. But we'd like to make a recommendation today of whether we're going to recommend a sole provider or multiple provider for our ambulance service for Rapides Parish. And any kind of discussion we have will be around that decision. So, any committee members have any comments they'd like to make?
No, just put it in a proper posture and we'll make a motion.
Yeah, we need to have a motion for discussion.
So I'll make a motion for us as the committee to push forward to the police jury that we go for a sole provider for emergency and non-emergency services, and that we recommend to the police jury to make proper amendments to the current ordinance that they have to be in accordance with Washita Parish, some of the ordinances that we saw, and then open it up for requests for proposals for the future. But I think we need to make sure we reach out far enough to do. I think the journal here is the town talk, but I'd also like to add that when all of this is distributed, it goes to that and that.
Okay, we have a motion for sole provider. Anybody wants to second that?
Second motion.
We got a second. Now we'll open up for discussion.
Mr. Chair, I wrote that down. So you're asking for, in your motion, Chief Vasco, for including RFP to the town hall, which is our official journal, but also to the advocate in that group.
Yes.
Which we sometimes do with contracts that we put out to make sure that there's statewide coverage and then we get statewide participation in proposals. So That's not an issue. I would also point out that whether we're looking at Washita or the other ordinances, which you guys have been provided, that we know that there is an issue currently with the accountability of ambulance services. And as we've discussed in other meetings, the revision of the current ordinances, whether it's for sole provider or multiple provider, is going to include a specific section for a separate accountability committee that will meet and enforce those ordinances, whether it's a sole provider or multiple provider, will meet regularly. And there's going to be more teeth in it. There could be civil penalties or lack of performance could result in termination of the contract, one way or the other.
Would you want me to add that, Shimon?
No, that's okay. I just want to make sure everybody understands that that would be included in the revision of the ordinances. Thank you.
And with a motion in a second, we're gonna open it up for discussion. Motion was to recommend to the police jury a sole provider and develop the ordinances that are appropriate to that, as well as eventually the request for proposals that would be put out, and then we would hear proposals. And that's the way the police jury would decide, and we would have to score the proposals, and there'll be a process for us to do all that. But we have a lot of work to do. Today, we're going to talk about and get discussion and open it up for discussion. So any other members of the committee, and initially those that are in attendance, if you do come up and make comments, I do want to ask, is a 3-minute limit, and it shouldn't be personal attacks on anyone. It should be related to the topic of my ambulance service for Rapides Parish. I'm going to ask you to do that in your comments and discussion.
So, I think that a sole provider is a good thing in a lot of ways. However, in healthcare, there's a lot of patient choice involved. And to me, not having multiple providers where that gives the patient choice, maybe not so much in the emergency room, but in the hospitals, nursing home realm, if now we're giving them no choice to pick anybody else, and I know the ambulance, that's their green, that's where they get their money and all that stuff, but it also takes that patient choice away. And I think it's cognizant of that, and that may be something that may be able to be changed in the ordinance where, yes, the emergency is primarily with one company, but maybe possibly even having the ability, if patient choice, that also has that ability to do that in somewhere in the ordinance. Because patient choice is very important. Like I said, in emergencies, I think one provider should be for emergencies for sure, but when it comes to transfers as far as non-emergency, being discharged from the hospital or whatever the case may be, there should be always that ability for a patient to have a choice.
Right. Anyone from the audience that are here today would like to make a comment?
Yes, sir. I thought you were going by this list and you have to sign first. For everybody, my name is Mr. Cornelius Lawson White Jr. I live at 3638 10th Street. My phone number is area code 318-446-6934. For those of you who don't know, I was beat down in the Alexandria City Council meeting, and Acadian Ambulance people hadn't been there. I was in bad shape. Now, whether the mayor ordered it or the president of the city council, Big Jim Ballard, I don't know. But we were supposed to be in court yesterday, and now we've been moved back to September.
Mr. White.
No, I'm gonna relate it to Acadian Ambulance. Acadian Ambulance has been to my house numerous times. And I've told Mr. Paul, give me a list
of all the times you've been to my house, my godfather was Big Jim Bird. He was the city marshal in here. They've been to his house numerous times. He had a stroke and everything. They saved his life. My dad was out there at the Christmas tree farm. He thought somebody was in the balloon, and he grabbed the rope, and he held on, I guess, in about 5 or 6 stories. And he almost lost his life. If it hadn't been for Eric Katie and Lambs, he wouldn't have made it. And I know Med Express, they say they want to help the people and stuff, but if you want to help the people, come to every city council meeting or come to every stuff. If you want to really help the people, and just don't come just for the money, come for the people. And I've seen the Canadian Ambulance do what they're supposed to do and everything. And it's just a shame that, you know, you get beat down for asking a question. I see y'all want to beat me down and nothing. Y'all treat me fair and honest. And like I said, my mom, my grandmother, Acadian Ambulance has been there for them. So I told Mr. Paul, please give a list of y'all, all the times it's been to 36, 38, 10th Street, then my godfather's house on Robinson Drive, Big Jim Bird. And I just think we need to stick with one carrier and that cares about people. And like I said, I believe Acadian Ambulance cares.
Thank you, Mr. Carter.
All right, thank you, Mr. Paul. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Wade.
All right, anyone else from the audience? How you doing?
My name is Shane Cuss from Captain Paramedic in the City of Highlands Fire Department. I'm not here representing the fire department. I'm here just to let you know there is a problem. And the problem is extended response times and the fact that our paramedics are being put in a position where a BLS unit arrives at the scene, we're trying to provide care, and the BLS unit is expected to transport the patient. You may or may not be aware that as a paramedic, I cannot transfer care to somebody with lesser training. EMC basic is a lesser training. So it puts us in a position of having to get on the ambulance, shut down the fire truck, and route that patient to the hospital, which we don't care. We like to help the patient. That's what we're there for, right? But it's a disservice to the citizens of Pineville when we have to shut down a fire truck because there's not an ALS unit available. All right. I have yesterday another example. We went to a overdose. They come in that it was 2 patients. We got on scene. There's actually 3 patients. The call come in at 1200 hours. That's when truck 1, engine 10 went around for the double overdose. All right. We arrived on scene at 12:05. The first Acadian ground unit arrived on scene at 12:16. Right? Now, bear in mind, we've got 3 overdose patients we're dealing with. The third Acadian ground unit arrived on scene at 12:50. And it was a BLS unit. So here we are, 2 paramedics for the fire department in a BLS truck. So what does that mean? That means one of us are going to shut down a fire truck to ride in with this overdose patient. But Canadian ground unit, I'm sorry, not Canadian ground. Canadian supervisor showed up on scene and was able to ride in this BLS crew. It's not the first time. I've got lots of documented cases where this has happened. One of the more recent ones that happened was a motor vehicle accident at Crazy Quip. I don't know if you are familiar with that, while they were climbing line on the shelter. Patient was ejected. We had another patient in the car that's been extricated, and BLS unit showed up. I've got a patient that's got a head injury, her sternum, pelvic is shattered, half the teeth are missing in the front, and a BLS unit shows up. I'm not knocking a BLS crew. They do the job, they're trained to national register standards, but you've got to understand that I can't turn over care to that patient or to that crew once I've initiated care. And it's not something that's just, oh, well, you know, he's bitter or whatever. I'm keeping track of it, right? And if this is happening more times than I can count, where dispatch, prime example again.
Mr. Shane, you get 3 minutes.
3 minutes left? All right.
One thing I want to say.
Go ahead.
Oh, thank you.
One thing I want to say. Today we're talking about providing programs, I mean, how we gonna structure the product. You know, when, if a Canadian or any other company submits one, then, you know, we can address their proposal. The performance is not what we're looking at today, we're looking at whether this parish should go sideline.
I understand. The last several meetings, or last meetings I've had, I've been on duty, I haven't been able to attend it. So I just want to get it out for the record that this is what's being done. And just a suggestion that whenever y'all decide what you're going to decide, whether it's a sole provider or multiple providers, have a way for people like us who are in the community, who are out there seeing us on the front lines every day, that we have some type of a complaint line that we can call in and say, look, this is what happened, this incident happened, and these are the details surrounding it. So you have accountability, thank you.
And that is the critical link to making any kind of service, whether it's sole or multiple. Accountability has to be built in, so that's already been acknowledged as critically needed.
Mhm.
So either decision would require us to be more accountable to get the extra service.
All right, thanks, sir.
Anyone else? Yes,
Thank you. I'm Shane Davidson with, I'm a Patrick EMS, I'm the COO over Louisiana and Mississippi. I just want to commend each of you on this committee. This is a huge decision, probably one of the more important decisions that all of you know EMS is a huge component, a crucial component to the infrastructure for Rapides Parish. We totally agree with the recommendation of the sole provider. We have a vision at Patrick for Rapides Parish. And we have the resources, the ground and the resources for, you know, to get to that vision and accomplish goals that we'll set for the parish. So I just want to stand up and say that. Thank you.
My name's Barry Cole. I'm the fire chief for the field. What I'd like to present is also performance. But I feel like there's going to be some decisions coming up that this will hopefully influence. And we've been recording some data on response times to the DeVille area since January 1st. And just like to share that with y'all. Could I present y'all with some data?
Well, again, sir, does this have to do with Mr. Scorio said with multiple or sole providers, or is this singling out one provider?
This is not singling out one provider. This is, if a sole proprietorship would, there needs to be better response time to the bill. And if a sole proprietorship or a multiple providership would help that, I'm either way.
Okay.
I'm not here to bash Acadian. Acadian is our friend. Acadian is our neighbors. Acadian has firefighters that are part of our department. And we're not here to bash Acadian. We're not here to support or talk bad about any department. But
There's ways that a response time could be would be better for the town. If that's all. Yes, okay.
I'm here to represent the residents of the Ville, and we're asking for a better response time. Could I ask what the current, expectation is for the DeVille area? Chico's quoted to me before, I think it's 20 minutes, 80% of the time.
80% of the time by the contract, yes.
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 And if you look at these figures, now these are averages. This is not looking at the response time percentage, but this is the average per month. And as you will see, each month has been well over 20 minutes. And again, I'm not advocating for Acadian to be replaced. I'm advocating for better response time for the DeVille residents. That's the sole reason I'm here. We had an incident this week. It's on the last 2 pages. The call came in at 9:13. If you look at the second to last page, the top highlight, it was dispatched at 9:13. Acadian got it at 9:14. At 9:13, our units, at 9:23, our units advised CPR was in progress, and we revised the Acadian, the Acadian unit responding to DeVille was leaving from LSUA. So that was concerning. And it was a 34-minute response time with CPR was called off at some point later, and the patient perished. I don't really have the viability of the patient, if the response time would make a difference, but the response time is there.
One thing I would like to say, we're not looking at proposals today, so.
Yes, sir.
Acadian, I don't even know if they're going to submit a proposal or not. But the point of, you're really justifying what we think we need to do is have more accountability for any sector,
Yes, sir.
whoever we select. And I think it further reinforces the fact that the police jury is going to be highly recommended to have the accountability committee, potentially a staff. They'll be looking at response times, having penalties for anyone that doesn't need it. And, potentially could lose the contract.
Yes, sir.
So what you're saying is something that needs to be recognized, and it has been.
Okay.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Paul Fusler with Canadian Ambulance. I guess I've been pretty quiet since the news started. I want to first of all thank Chief Barry Tull. We have worked, as they said, alongside with him. The fire department's providing needed service to their community. We're working alongside with them to try to help enhance that. To say that there are not any issues or never any issues, I can't stand up in here and say that. The nature of our business, you're gonna have some of those times where things are going to not go the way you really want them to go. And I think that's why when you look at these different ordinances for sole provider, there's a percentage of the time is written into there, because you will never hit 100%. That's just part of the nature of the business. And if I can, Barry, if we can speak a little bit afterwards, I was looking for the highlighted area you spoke of. If you could show me where it's at. So I really like to dig into it. Just want to get it. Sole provider is the way to go. And I heard about, we have multiple providers for the non-emergency side, but I think you've heard from Washington Parish, you've heard from other ambulance services that say you need both to be able to make it work. You can't provide what you need on the emergency side, because you have to have the guaranteed call, if you will, that you can work through to get payment on, to support what you need to provide on the emergency side. So to separate those two, I think would be a disaster for the emergency provider.
It'd be great for the non-emergency provider, but it would be a disaster for the emergency provider. I think you would see that the emergency providers would end up having to bow out at some point in time. Because it takes both to be able to do that. The multiple provider systems, you've heard a little bit about, how well they work in some areas. Well, in 2 areas, just recently, within the last month, services have pulled out. I don't know if you're aware of that, but I can share that with you. In multiple provider areas, services were pulled out, and the reasoning on there was simple: financially convenient. So, if I can get that, Mr. Greg, to Teresa, or somebody, if the committee would like to see that, just to show you that there's some issues with that. And how long does it take for it to get to that point? That just depends. How long somebody's willing to hang on to that rope. And just to kind of prove that point, that sole provider is the way to go, especially in the markets that we're talking about. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Anyone else? Mayor?
Speaking from a rural perspective, fire departments over the years, they've enhanced their training. They probably do 90% of their work is probably done for emergency response for on the paramedic side, the EMS side, or someone having a stroke or a car wreck or what have you. And most of these departments have geared up and gone with extensive training. We have firemen, EMTs, we have a police officer, paramedic, and they're equipped to respond and to work in conjunction with the emergency provider. There's issues going to come up in emergency provider side, and there's issues going to come up with the non-emergency provider side. I won't stand before you today and name the company that I witnessed personally recently within the transporting business from a patient, and it was an Acadian, I will just tell you that. And I see them pull up in the street there in Woodworth, and they have the lights on in their transport unit, the ambulance unit. Nobody's there. I go into the donut shop, and they got 2 other people sitting there. And the problem is, they had a flat, and wait for somebody to come fix the flat, and wait for somebody to come pick the patient up to transport them whatever they was going. I'm not saying those things don't come up. I don't know. AMS, Acadian, them are trained to go change flats on the side of the road. They got emergency response. They do a lot of other things. But I know that things is going to come up out there because we deal with that, and we try to prepare to stabilize that patient or stabilize whoever we're working with to the point that we can get the emergency responders there, Acadian, who that may be at that time. And we're real proud of it. We have AEDs. We got several people that we've saved on the AEDs and been recognized by Acadian for it, saved their life, their beach things, you name it, You just can't get there quick enough if you, and agree, if you're having a heart attack, moments are important, every moment is very important. So there's a lot of factors involved in that heart attack, It's in the patient, can you get heart trouble, would it make a difference, or when you go, I'm speaking from my own brother, who was up talking at one point, and the next minute he's dead, from a heart attack, nothing's gonna save that, they worked on it, I can just tell you that. But I know that over the years that the performance schedule that our current provider has been, they have the resources and they have the work wherewithal and the know-how, and they not only provide services on an emergency basis, they are part of our community. Some of them belong to the fire departments in their area besides working for Acadian, and that's very important. We see that going on. Sure, I'll tell you, as I told you before, I'm 100% from sole provider. Whoever the best person that may be, that's going to be up somebody else to decide beside me. But as I spoke before, I don't see a rural representative on this board, you know, it gets down to, and if you pass an ordinance, is it gonna affect my municipality? I don't think so. You know, the police jury ordinance is not gonna supersede town of Monroe's ordinance. It's my sole intent to state the sole provider, whoever that may be. But anyway, just because of my experience level at it. But anyway, I just want to share that. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nathaniel Russell, Senior Operations Supervisor for Medicare Ambulance Service. I know you have a point vote to do today, and I understand that whether it be sole provider, multiple provider, you know, that choice lies with y'all. I'm not arguing when it comes to sole and multiple provider, there's benefits on both. We're a sole provider in one parish, Sabine, and, you know, we take care of that area, they don't have complaints. So they don't have these issues either, so I understand. When it comes to multi-provider, I've been over St. Landry Parish for roughly 6-7 years. You heard from Mr. Bellard himself. Is this, I don't understand what I'll say the misunderstanding of how this could be a multiple issue or why it's a negative. These parishes have been doing this. We work alongside Acadia and other EMS services in these parishes. There's not just some magic that happens. St. Landry Parish, Vernon Parish, Jeff Davis, Acadia Parish, that's all multi-provider. Competition handles itself. We don't have these issues. To say that multi-provider does not work, it's right there. There's not just some magic that only happens in this parish or these certain parishes. We work fine together. And as Mr. Paul pointed out, we did pull out Banjo and Royal Parish. The reason that is, for the parish, we were over $1 million in the negative on. I've been there 6-7 years. We fought to get on our rotation, to be there for the community. I know I'm a citizen of Oakland's Parish. So, like I said, after 6-7 years, you have to look at the numbers and say, when it's a fight, when is it time to give up? And that's pretty much what it came down to. You call 911 to the Oakland's Parish, ask for MedExpress, they won't direct you to MedExpress, they will transfer you, it's a no-go. So, like I said, after 6-7 years of fighting and battling, time was time. So, that's all I have to say.
Appreciate it. Anyone else? Anyone who come in and make a okay. Call the question.
No more comment, yes.
We got call the question. All those in favor of the motion, or after the roll call vote? Okay. Let's go with the roll call vote of the members that are here.
Mr. Pascal?
Yes.
Mulder?
Yes.
Ms. Branton?
Yes.
Dr. Gloria Anthony?
Yes.
Ms. Moore? Yes. Mr. Shannon?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Ms. Small? Ms. Pierce?
Yes.
Mr. Echo? He's not here.
Correct. Prayer, not here.
That's correct.
The vote won't count, but I did have a member that wanted it to express their sentiments, and I'll do it. I'm not bearing on the vote. But, Mr. Sherman, folks from Ring did indicate that they were in favor of sole providers. It's not gonna be required.
On the record.
He's going to put it on the record. As a public record and special. Yeah. So what was the final vote? Nine zero unanimous?
Yes.
Okay. We are gonna recommend sole provider service to the police jury. The police jury makes the decision. But we do have to develop a draft ordinance with the recommendation. so the police jury can at least have a starting document to develop the RFP and to move forward. So, I'm gonna appoint a subcommittee to draft the parish ordinance for the police jury to consider and start to develop that ordinance that's gonna help us with our RFP development. And, I'd like for, Chief Allen, Ms. Bratton, Sherman's not here, but I'd like Sherman to be on the committee. Our legal advisor, Greg, will help us in developing that document, and Teresa will help us in developing it. I'll serve as an ex officio as chair of the committee. The subcommittee has to meet and start work on this, so we're not gonna set a date for the next meeting yet, because we gotta see how much work can be required to get this draft that y'all gonna be considering as a committee. That's the plan. Hopefully in about 3 or 4 weeks, we'll have a meeting with that committee to review the draft that the subcommittee will come up with. After we review the draft, we'll vote on it at the next meeting, not the meeting that we'll review it at the following meeting. So I'm gonna go through that process real quick. Subcommittee will develop the draft. We'll meet the next 30 days or so as a committee to review that draft. After we review it, when we get comment, it'll probably have to be revised, obviously. There'll be a second draft. We'll come back to the next meeting of the committee and adopt or modify whatever we need on that second draft and submit it to the police jury for that consideration. And once they approve it, I think, Greg, I'm correct, then the RFP will be developed.
Yes, sir. Once the revised ordinances are recommended from this body to the jury adopts them, and we publish, then an RFP will begin working on that. That will be prepared in accordance with what the new ordinances are, which will include, as I said before, the accountability provisions. Yes.
And we'll develop an RFP. That's the ordinances approved of jury. We'll get proposals from hopefully multiple providers. And we'll have to score their proposal, submit those scores to the police jury. And then the decision will be made by the jury on a select team. We have a lot of work to do, but we've done a lot of good work already as well. Yes.
Can I ask the committee, subcommittee, completes their draft, that it be sent out in a document versus a paper document? Yes, because it makes it easier.
Well, that,
You and all that.
that's a good suggestion, Mr. Seaman, and to be sent out to you in advance of the committee meeting, the full committee.
I've worked with a lot of documents. You put a paper document, I just want to go to sleep, whereas if it's electronic, I'm ready to go.
I think we can arrange it.
That's what you need.
Right, and that way it makes it very.
It also makes it easier for each of you to submit some recommendations. You highlight your recommendations and we'll get it as opposed to hand scratching on it.
You see my handwriting.
No, but you haven't seen mine.
I have.
I want to thank the committee for coming from the committee members that are doing. We're not going to set a meeting now. We'll wait for the subcommittee to do their work. And, we'll make sure you get good advance notice of the meeting. I want to thank Will prepared. It's very easy. did that first, we were gonna do it.
Listen, no more to.
I think everybody in the audience who came today that take an interest in our parish, we really appreciate it very much. And, for the committee members, very busy people, thank you all for being part of the process, and, we'll take a motion to adjourn. Yes. A motion in a second. Anybody opposed that motion?
You can look like, you know.